Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it very, very much. However you may be joining us, thanks for tuning in. We're always so very glad to get updates for what's happening in our community. One of those people is Captain Brendan Mathern, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer. Brendan, welcome back to the program.
Well, great. Thanks for having us.
All right, we appreciate that. You know, we hear about all the things that are happening around the area, especially when something happens like a shooting. Give us a little bit more of the updates that we heard about with the shooting over in Raceland.
Yes, thankfully they've been fewer and farther between, especially since Hurricane Ida. But unfortunately, we did have an incident that came up this past Sunday at around 6:45. We actually responded to a reported attempted vehicle burglary in the 400 block of St. Philip Street in Raceland. Michael Harris III, a 20-year-old from Raceland, was the suspect in that. Of course, he was gone when we arrived, but a little bit later, we found out that he actually allegedly returned and shot a woman at that same residence where the vehicle, where he had attempted to burglarize the vehicle. She suffered injuries to her left leg and foot, and she was taken to a local hospital for treatment. They were non-life-threatening injuries, but Harris actually had shown up at the house and had fired through the door into the home where he knew the eventual victim was located. So ultimately, detectives sought arrest warrants for him for attempted second-degree murder as well as attempted simple burglary. He later turned himself in. The following day, on Monday afternoon, he surrendered and turned himself in, and he was booked on those charges, and his bail is set at over $255,000.
Okay, and so we appreciate that update. And so it's got to be scary when somebody maybe attempts to burglarize a vehicle and then returns to the scene, if you will, and then fires shots. And again, so we were told knowingly there were people inside when he shot. So fortunately, it was not more injuries sustained, and certainly not life-threatening. So we're really glad about that.
And look, this is a good lesson to learn. So many times people talk to us about, look, I think my vehicle was burglarized the night before, or somebody tried to get in my vehicle. They lifted the door handle, but they couldn't get in because my vehicle was locked, and they just don't report it. This is why it's so important to report these things, because you never know what it could lead to. Certainly, most vehicle burglars do not turn out to be murderers or attempted murderers, but that wasn't the case here. This person came back to the scene and tried shooting the victim. So it's important to always report crime to us, if nothing else, so that we can track the individuals who are doing these crimes. Look, maybe they're just charged with attempted vehicle burglary, but that's still a significant charge. It's an attempted felony. And so it's always important. Even if somebody just lifts your door handle and your car is locked and they don't get anything, it's the same charge as if they would have gotten in. They're attempting to burglarize your vehicle, and that's an important event to let us know about in law enforcement.
Well, we appreciate that. Great education. And speaking of education, I see the new look. So the beard is still there. Tell us a little bit about this No Shave November and the beard that's been growing.
So obviously now we're in December, so you would think that we would lose the beards, but thankfully last year and again this year, Sheriff Weber extended our fundraiser another month. We call it Do It Again December. So in No Shave November, we actually raised over $2,500 for Relay for Life for the American Cancer Society. And this year, because Hurricane Ida passed, Sheriff Weber was allowing our deputies to, while we normally raise money for Relay for Life in November, and then the Special Olympics Torch Run, the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics in December, this year he allowed us to donate to any cause. If you turned in cash, it went to those traditional fundraisers. And like I said, we did raise over $2,500 for American Cancer Society in November, but a number of deputies took him up on that offer and donated to either local nonprofits or just any nonprofit or charitable cause that they deemed worthy. So we're doing it again in December, and all those deputies that are sporting their beards can keep them at least for another 30 days if they donate, and it's $25 per month that these deputies are donating to one of these worthy causes. So it's always great to get involved in the community. And look, I know our deputies appreciate the beards. And look, you might notice a new look from our deputies. Sheriff Weber just recently changed our uniform policy as well. We used to have set dates where we would wear long sleeves and ties. That has become optional now, following a lot of law enforcement agencies around the state, including state police. So now all our short sleeve uniforms are the traditional uniform that people can wear year round. They can choose to wear long sleeves and ties when they so choose, but it's no longer required during those winter and early spring months.
Fantastic. Good news. And so just about a minute and a half left. Tell us a little bit about some holiday safety we need to be aware of.
Well, the biggest thing is, I mean, I think at this point, everybody knows to be careful and be aware of your surroundings when you're shopping, and try not to use public Wi-Fi and things of that nature when you're shopping for during this holiday season. The biggest thing is, we coming off of Hurricane Ida, is just be careful. There's going to be a lot of people looking for handouts, and a lot of those people will be legitimate. And we know people are being very generous in this season. So just be conscious of what you're doing. Be conscious of where you are. If you're going to go shopping, try to shop at least in pairs with a spouse or with a friend. Not with a child, though. It's always best to leave the children at home when shopping, unless you have other adults to watch them, because children, just like a phone or anything else, they take your attention away, and you may not be concentrating on your surroundings. You always want to be aware of who may be approaching you, even if it's completely safe. But while you are shopping and parking, make sure you're parking in well-lit areas. Make sure you're hiding merchandise as you're shopping around. And again, put those phones down. Make sure you get your keys in your hand as you're walking to your vehicle if you need that. But just keep the phone in your pocket. Just like we say during trick-or-treating on Halloween, you want that distraction away from you when you're walking to your vehicle, to make sure that you are concentrating on your surroundings. Get in your vehicle, get safe, and that way you can enjoy those presents on Christmas.
Captain Brendan Mathern, we thank you enough for all of your expert information, and thanks again for wearing the beard and donating. We appreciate that.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
You got it. All right, and that'll do it for this segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more local programming when we continue.